Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Ram Hare Hare Ram Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Ram
Krishna Krishna,
Ram
Hare Hare, Hare Ram,
Hare
Hare Ram,
Hare
Ram Ram,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare Krishna,
Hare Ram Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Ram
Hare Krishna Hare
Hare Krishna
Krishna
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Hare Ram
Hare
Ram
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 Hare Ram Ram Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna
Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna
Ram
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram
Hare
Ram Ram
Krishna
Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Full chanting. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Ram जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय शिला प्रपाद की जय। कीर्तन पार्टी।
Yep, Prabhuji.
Please start.
They are starting.
Can I take this job?
చూసుకో
Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale
गौर प्रेमानंदे
हरि हरि बोल।
जय
पार्टी जय
जय कीर्तन पार्टी की
जय
जय thank you very much for wonderful kirtan
थैंक यू प्रभु जी हरे कृष्ण
Hari bol
Thank you, Prabhuji.
thank you So thanks again for this weekly satsang, coming to this weekly satsang, Friday, 7:30 to 9. We are running a little late today. We'll start soon, immediately. So first, let me offer my obeisances to all the Vaishnava devotees who are just like the desire trees who can fulfill all desires and are full of compassion to the fallen conditioned souls. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha krupa sindhubhya evascha patitanam pavanibhyo vaishvanibhyo namo namah. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Let's start with our prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya
Deva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Tato Jayamudiraye
Tato Jayamudiraye
Magyana Timirandasya
Om Ajnanatimirandasya
Anjana Chalakaya
Jnananjana Salakaya
Chakshurunmilitamena
Chakshuru Militamena
Shri Guruve Namaha
Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha
Chaitanya Manobhishtam
Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam
Prapitam Yena Bhutale
Stapitam Yena Bhutale
Rupakadamahyam
Swayam Rupam Kadamahyam
Dati Swapadantikam
Dadati Swapadantikam
Karuna Sindhu
He Krishna Karuna Sindhu
Bandhu Jagatpate
Dinabandhu Jagatpate
Gopika Kanta
Gopesa Gopika Kanta
Kanta Namostute
Radhakanta
Radha Kanta Namastute
Kanchana Gaurangi
Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi
Radhe Vrindavaneshwari
Radhe Vrindavaneshwari
Bhanusute Devi
Vrisabhano Sute Devi
Swami Hari Priye
Pranamami Hari Priye
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha
Vancha Kalpataruvescha
Sindhubhya
Kripa Sindhavayevcha
Titanam Pavanebhyo
Patitanam Pavanebhyo
Yo Namo Namaha
Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha
Sri Krishna Chaitanya
Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya
Nityananda
Prabhu Nityananda
Sri Advaita Gadadhara
Sri Advaita Gadadhara
Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Krishna Hare Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hare Rama
Hare Rama Hare Rama
Rama Hare Hare
Rama Rama Hare Hare
Om Vishnu Padaya
Namo Vishnu Padaya
Pristaya Bhutale
Krishna Prestaya Bhutale
Mate Bhakti Vedanta
Srimate Bhakti Vedanta
Iti Namine
Swami Niti Namine
Te Saraswate Deve
Namaste Saraswate Deve
Gauravani Pracharine
Gauravani Pracharine
Nirvishesha Shunyavadi
Nirvishesha Sunyavadi
Satya Deshatarane
Paschatyadesatarine
Kam Karoti Vachalam
Mukam Karoti Vachalam
Gum Langete Giram
Pangum Langate Grim
Yat Krupatamaham Vande
Tatkripatamam Bande
Gurundinataranam
Igrum Dinata
Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Nandanaaya Cha
Devaki
Gopakumaraya
Nanda Gokumaraya
Indaya Namo Namaha
Govindaya Namaha
Pankajanabhaya
Nama Pankajanabhaya
Pankajamaline
Nama Pankajamatine
Pankajanetraya
Nama Pankajanetraya
Namaste Pankajangraye
Namaste Pankajangraye
Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki.
Jai.
Wonderful. So let's quickly recap for 5-10 minutes, not more than that, so that we make up for the last time. So I guess everyone on this call were present last week also, right?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Arundhati Mataji, you want to recall what we discussed?
Okay, thank you. Yes. We had discussed from 1.11 verse last time. And yes, Duryodhana was saying that Bhishma Pitama, that everyone must give protection to Bhishma Pitama, as though he is a great hero, because he is an old man and a very old person. And now we discussed about the 8 reasons when the weapons are put down. The first one is whenever the shield or the weapons of the opposite person is strong and are put down. Then the second, when the weapons fall down from their hand. Third, when Bhishma Dev is powered, that the other person runs away. I mean, he will not run behind them. No. Then the fourth one, when the other person surrenders in front of him, that he will not fight. Then fifth one, when he finds a feminine name wherever anyone comes. Then sixth is when he finds the only son of a mother. Then eighth, if a person in front of him, if he puts his weapon down. So that's what Duryodhana's attitude is to Bhishma Pitama, saying in a diplomatic way that he's old, so others should protect him. That's what he was saying. And Dronacharya knew that Drishtadumna would kill him. But the greatness of the soul is the simplicity. That Bhishma Pitama means is very simple persons. That means simplicity means he reveals his secret to anyone, even to his enemy also. Then Haya, if anyone else also can say, I can pass it on.
Is Nirmala Mataji, can you?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Bhishma Pitama was so simple that he reveals his that how he could be killed. That was his greatness. That was a home take for me last week. And in order to stop Duryodhana talking nonsense, Bhishma Pitama blowed his counsel. This is from verse 1.12. And blowing counsel is one of the auspicious also. And blowing counsel means it is going to start the war here in Kurukshetra war. And the fighting is considered to be the tamasic and asuri. And to remove these things, inauspicious things, so they used to blow the counsel basically. And Bhishma Pitama was one of the Mahajan from 12 Mahajans. And when he was on the arrow bed, he called all the Pandavas and he gave the knowledge and essence of life to all the Pandavas. So he told we should always have the enthusiasm. That's the thing. That's the biggest thing that we can enhance ourselves in our sadhana or bhakti or whatever we are doing as a Kshatriya also, whatever their karma is. So without enthusiasm, they will not be able to perform their duties properly. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah. Thank you. Anybody else quickly, 2 minutes, wants to add?
Okay.
Yeah, Prabhuji, just I want to say, like, I mean, the 12 Mahajans we mentioned, I mean, like Nirmala already told, but we discuss in detail. Swayambhu, Narada, Sambhu, Kumara, Kapila, Manu, Pralada, Janko, Bhisma, Balir, Vyas, Kirbayam. So, Lord Brahma himself, then Narad, then Lord Shiva, Napur Kumaraj, Kapila, then Manu, Swayambhu Manu, then Prahlad Ji Maharaj, then Bhisma, Janaka, Ali, and then Sukadev Goswami and Yamaraj. So they were 12. So you mentioned that Bhagavatam shloka as well, like Dwadasataya Bija Nimo Dharma Bhagavatam Bhata Goyam Visuddha Durvadham Yam Gyatva Mritam Asnute. So they were, and just wanted to mention like concel's name you also mentioned, like Lord Krishna used, Lord Krishna was having Panchajanya.
No, we didn't come there yet. We didn't come there.
You, so concel's, when you were saying that, Visma concel, so there, okay. So I think this concel name came up, so that's what I have written. So that I was just going through, probably. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
I have couple.
Yes, Mataji, quickly.
So in this context of Mahajans, you mentioned about why Bhishma Pitamaha was so important is because of his spirituality, and then what is the real spirituality, and to have a real spirituality, mainly three characters are important. Three characteristics are important: enthusiasm, inquisitive, and energetic. And then you gave us a ABCDE association, bhakti, chanting,
Books.
drive, worship is enthusiasm. And then we went in deep about association, like how Karna's example, though he had everything, all the shastras, dharma, because of the bad association, everything was waste. Even Krishna gave a chance, but still he said he will not leave Duryodhan. So that's like total three takeaways. One is simplicity of Bhishma Pitamaha, like how transparent they were, and then knowing the real spirituality, and association, sadhu sangha. That's what I remember.
Very nice. Thank you, Mataji. So anyone try to implement any of these things in this week? That's more important.
Sangha, Prabhuji.
Sorry?
Sadhu sangha.
Oh, okay, good. Lava matra
Yeah.
sangha, sarva siddhi hoy.
One thing, Prabhuji, you told earlier, I think not in this class, but Ahara Suddha, Sattva Suddha. So we are already doing like Sadhu Sangha.
Okay.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
So that is nice. Thank you very much. So let's get on to this week's session. And last point was what we discussed was enthusiasm. Enthusiasm one should have, and we compared with the younger generation where they say, you know, I don't have time, I don't have energy to do all these things when it comes to spirituality. So instead of just doing, and many people just do the lip service, you know, we want to avoid this lip service. We want to execute it, you know, physically we want to do what we are talking about. We not just talk and don't walk on our talk. So we always should walk on our talk. So practically we have to execute it. So that is when we have like 7 days time. When we learn something, this session, we have 7 days time to execute it. Okay. So even if you get one scenario, you can, in your reflections at the end of the program, you can share that. Okay, I had this kind of scenario I had to face in my life, and then this is what I executed. This is how I executed based on the scriptural discussion what we had. So at least in this 1 week's time, you know, it could be inside a family, it could be outside a family, wherever, with friends, whomever. At least now in this COVID season, we won't go out, but you will definitely encounter many scenarios, right? Whatever we are discussing. So your reflections and our reflections could be that we can share at the end of the session that I encountered this and this is what I learned and this is what I implemented. So if we can follow this, then it will be really helpful practically. So that is the practical application of Bhagavad Gita. Is it okay?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you. So this week we will read from chapter 1, 13th verse. So is Suhrut Prabhu there? Suhrut Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, please go ahead.
ततः शङ्काश्च प्रेयाश्च
Tata Shankascha Beryascha
पनवनका गोमुखः
Anavanaka Gomuha
तस्य वा अभया अन्यन्त
Eva Abhyanyanta
सा शक्तास्तुमुलो अभवत्
Shashabdastumulo Bhava. Translation, please.
After that, the conchs, drums, bugles, trumpets, and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Tata Shankascha Beryascha Panavanaka Gomukaha Sahasai Eva Abhya Hanyanta Shashabdastumulo Bhavat. After that, the conch shells, drums, bugles, trumpets, and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous. So this basically happened after Bhishma Pitama blew his conch shell, right? So till now we saw variety characteristics of Duryodhan, and then Bhishma had to put a stop for him, and then he had to blow his conch shell. So once he blew his conch shell, all the other people in the army, they started blowing this conch shells. Drums, bugles, bugles, right? Trumpets, horns, they started blowing. So it was not with full enthusiasm. So one thing we have to learn here that nobody wanted this war except one person, Duryodhan, fully supported by his father, okay, Dhritarashtra. So otherwise nobody wanted war. Bhishma Pita didn't want it, Dronacharya didn't want it, and Shalya didn't want it. So even the Pandavas didn't want it, or Kauravas also, the army didn't want it. Okay, but because of his big ego of Duryodhan, everybody was fighting. So on the first day itself, see, this is how if you want to start any project, right? Even in our daily life, if you want to start any project, unless you have this enthusiasm, the project won't go for a long time. So if you get negative comments on the first day itself, right? Even the beginning of the project itself, if you get negative comments, you will get really demotivated. And that's what exactly it's happening here. The first day itself, because of the talks of Duryodhan, it's not motivating actually. He thinks it's motivating, but in fact, Bhishma Pitama doesn't think that way, and they're not motivated. So they're not doing anything out of their heart here. It is all because of Duryodhan's compulsion. Otherwise, nobody is fighting here based on their heart contentment. Okay, so irrespective, they are blowing this conch shell. Okay, and Bhishma Pitamaha here, it is very one interesting fact you have to notice, right? Because Bhishma Pitama is the commander-in-chief, right? He blew the conch shells, and all the army people blew the conch shells. Here, Duryodhan is not blowing the conch shells. Neither his sons were there. His sons didn't blow the conch shell. His brothers were there, 99 brothers. They didn't blow the conch shells. So Duryodhana again, he is feeling the pride of, his pride is there. So we can notice that he's feeling the pride of as a king. Okay, I am the king. I want others to do that. I want others to blow the conch shell. I want Bhishma Pitama and other people, not our people. So he's showing a sign of pride here, acting like a king. Okay, so that fact we have to notice here. Okay, so and the other thing is, Bhishma Pitama, he was very, very one interesting fact you have to notice, right? Even the commander-in-chief, right? He blew the conch shell, and all the army people blew the conch shells. Here, Duryodhana again, he is feeling the pride of, his sons were there, 99 brothers. They didn't blow the conch shells. So Duryodhana again, he is feeling the pride of, as a king. Okay, so Now, as I said, even Krishna or Pandavas, they didn't wanted to fight. Only Duryodhana wanted to fight. So it was again the ruling party which initiating the fight. Okay, so this shows that even the Pandavas, they are ready even now. They are ready to take back seat if Duryodhana says that we don't want to fight, but Duryodhana wants the fight to happen. So let's see how these Pandavas' reaction for this conch shell, blowing this conch shell, and the instigation from Duryodhana side. Okay, so this comes in next sloka, which is 1.14. So Ankita Mataji is there.
Prabhuji, I don't have the book with me.
Okay. Do you want me to share my screen? Let me share. Okay, hold on. Can you see the screen?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Tata sveter hayer yukte
Tata Shveter Aheryukte
mahati shandane stito
Mahati
madhava pandavaschaiva
Madhava
Pandavasvaiva
divya shankau pradatmatu
Divya
On the other side, both Lord Krishna and Arjun, stationed on a great chariot drawn by white horses, sounded their transcendental conch shells.
Haribol. Thank you, Mataji. So here, now we have to hear very consciously here. Okay, so there are many points to be taken home from this verse, and this is also very, very, very important verse. Okay, so not that other verses are not important, but you know why this is very important, because first time after 14 slokas, so we have heard a lot from Duryodhan. We have heard Bhishma Pitam blowing his conch shell and others blowing their conch shells. But first time in Bhagavad Gita, our Lord comes into context. Lord Krishna comes into context. Right? Till now, there is no mention of Lord Krishna until 14 verses. But this verse that is why it is very, very important. Right? Because our Krishna, Madhava, enters into the scene for the first time. Because even Pandavas and Kauravas, they all know the secret, wherever Krishna is there is a victory. Jayastu Pandu Putranam Yesham Pakshe Janardana. So wherever victory is always with the persons like the sons of Pandu, because Lord Krishna is associated with them. So we have to hear very consciously here, because Krishna, and also very interestingly, in entire Gita, right, going forward, we'll notice this, okay, and we'll make a note of this also. Entire Gita, Krishna's names, different names, not direct Krishna, but his different names, okay, appear almost 33 times. Okay, please make a note of this. And Arjuna's different names appear 20 times. So whenever these names come, so we will discuss the importance of these names, right? Because every name, as we discussed in the very first session, names have a very, very significant meaning, right? We discussed the positive or negative connotations and all that before. So here we'll discuss the importance, significance of each name of Krishna and also Dhananjaya. So that way we can talk more about Krishna, right? It's very important. Please make a note of this. 33 times Krishna's name appear and Arjuna's names appear 20 times, right? So another interesting thing here we have to see that on Kaurava side, we also discussed this. The Kaurava side, the commander-in-chief, Bhishma Pitama, is blowing his conch shell. But on the Pandava side, who is blowing the conch shell first? According to this verse, Krishna and Arjuna, they are blowing their conch shells. See, ideally speaking, if you come in a chronological way, the first person to start with, because the war is about to begin, the first person to start with should be the commander-in-chief, right? until commander-in-chief starts, like how Kauravas, Bhishma started, until he started, nobody else started blowing their conch shells. That means the war is about to begin. So similarly, on Pandava side, it has to be the commander-in-chief, right? Who is the commander-in-chief on Pandava side?
Drishtadyumna.
Drishtadyumna. He is supposed to blow the conch shell, but instead of that, who is blowing? Krishna is blowing, because wherever Krishna is there, people are completely dependent on him, completely, because they want Krishna to take the lead. They're solely dependent on Krishna. So that means Pandavas and their army are completely following whatever Krishna does. Okay, Krishna says, okay, Arjuna fight, he will fight. Krishna says, don't fight, don't fight. So they are completely dependent on Krishna. So they're waiting for Krishna to blow the conch shell, because everybody knows Yata Krishna Tata Jaha. Wherever Krishna is there, there is a victory. So this is because of that love. So wherever there is love, there is a love between Pandavas and Krishna. So wherever there is love and dependency, there is no dry discipline. Because here the discipline is that the Drishtadyumna is supposed to blow, and then coming to Pandavas, Yudhishthira is supposed to blow, and then Arjuna, Krishna, likewise in a chronological order, but they don't follow the rules because they highly respect Krishna, and also they have deep love towards Krishna. So whatever Krishna does is the right thing. So they want Krishna to lead. That is why Krishna and Arjuna, they are blowing the conch shell. So also there is a mention here, Tata. So thereafter, Shvetahi. Shvetahi is, whoever is learning Sanskrit, you can explain. Shvetahi. What is Shvetahi?
Maybe color white related,
White.
because
Yes.
Shweta.
Yes, Shweta. Shweta color is white. Shvetayi means white. Shvetair Ahair. Ahair means horses. Okay. So that is very interesting, because whatever you take an object, or you take a people, or you take people's name, or conch shell's name, or horses, animals, everybody in this war, they have some significance. So where we can learn a lot of things. So every instance, every word, you can even analyze that. Why is this? Why white horse? Okay. So why they are mentioning here? It is Mahati, right? Not only just a hair. It is just Mahati Syandane Sthitav. Okay. It is not a normal chariot, right? So like how the whole chapter here, the whole text, especially Krishna is appearing, right? So you could have seen in a lot of movies when we are saying that when hero appears, that he might come in one car or whatever it is. First you show the car, and then he'll step out, then you show his footsteps, and then slowly go up, bum bum bum, then you show his face. Similarly, Krishna is coming here for the first time in this context. So Krishna is our superhero, right? So that is why so much description is given about, if you go to Mahabharata, in Mahabharata, so much description is given about this horse, the chariot, because it is not a normal chariot, right? So it has a lot of significance. White horses, the color also makes a lot of significance here. So Ratha means, chariot. We can call chariot in Sanskrit. The ideal meaning for Ratha is any vehicle which takes you from one place to other place. It could be a train, it could be a airplane, it could be a horse cart or cycle or anything. It can be called as Ratha, right? So that is the chariot. Here it is said Mahati. Mahati means very big chariot. It's not like a normal chariot what we assume, right? So chariot means, so behind there is a step. Okay, this is how the description is for a chariot. Huge wheels, and then behind there is a steps, and under the steps there are so much space to keep all the weapons, and then there is a high elevation where Arjuna is, and then after Arjuna, even that is not a small place, right? Now in the picture we see the Ratha. If two people are there, then the whole Ratha is engaged. Complete. There is no space. Not like that. Ratha is huge. And it says Mahati. So where Arjuna stands on the high elevation, and then there is a low elevation. There, Krishna is there. So the charioteer, and the horses also. It is so mentioned that there are 4 horses, right? In picture, you can see in many pictures, like for this example in Bhagavad Gita, right? See, there are 4 horses. So it is mentioned that these 4 horses, also it is aligned properly, not like in a straight form. Okay. So 2 horses in the front, a little inside the other 2 horses. So whoever those horses, they are very strong. They are organized in the outside form, right? Similarly, so why this description? As I said, it's not an ordinary chariot. First of all, this is not an ordinary chariot. Okay, there is a lot of there is a lot of meaning between all the items in the chariot, and also as I said, Krishna is our hero. So there are a lot of significance in the whole context. Okay, first thing is his name is mentioned as Madhava. So do you know any? Can anyone explain what is the meaning of Madhava?
Demon.
The person who killed
The one
the
killed
demon
the demon Madhu.
Madhu.
Yeah, so more significantly here, Madhava, the Madhu he killed, that is there, he gets the name Madhusudan. Okay, so Madhusudan is different. Here, Madhava means, Ma means mother, mother of universe. Who is the mother of universe? Is Lakshmi Devi.
Goddess of fortune.
Okay, so yes, goddess of fortune. Dava means consort or husband. So Madhava here is mentioned, it is the first name. Please note, as I said, there will be 33 different names of Krishna. We can discuss all the meanings, right? So Madhava means is the husband of goddess of fortune, husband of Lakshmi, who is the goddess of fortune. So here the whole fighting is happening because they wanted wealth, they wanted position, everything. But everyone knows that Krishna, who is the husband of the wealth, the husband of the goddess of fortune. So even knowing this, they are still fighting. Oh, I want this throne, I want to rule over the kingdom, all that. So they are very ignorant. They don't realize this. Especially Duryodhan, he is not realizing this, right? So that is the significance of this name, Mahadava, right? And also when it comes to this Ratha, as I was saying, so Ratha has these 4 horses, right? There is significance of these 4 horses. First of all, the color white signifies the peace. White signifies the peaceful, okay? So that is Shanti, right? And this Ratha has 4 horses, as I mentioned. Ratha is considered, in Shastra it says, Shariram Ratha Evacha. That means the Shariram is like a Ratha because it moves from one place to another place, right? So this 4 horses corresponds to the 4 Vedas. So we always have to attach with these 4 Vedas because 4 Vedas gives so much knowledge and it tells you how to lead your life, right? So always we have to, so that is why they say that we have to run our life in conjunction with the scriptures, sadhu shastra. Okay, so unless we run our life based on these base, then we are not human beings, we are called animals. So shariram ratha evacha. So this shariram is like a ratha, and these 4 horses corresponds to the 4 Vedas, right? Always we have to attach to the Vedas. And this white indicates the peace or mode of goodness. So all these indicates that they are victorious. Implicitly, it means that they are victorious because it is all well organized, right? So, and this, as I said, this Ratha is also not very common, not very ordinary Ratha. This Ratha was specially given to Arjuna. By whom?
Agni.
Who said that?
Agni.
Agnidev.
Yes. So this Ratha was specially given by Agnidev. Okay. So as I said, it had many capabilities. It is not ordinary Ratha. Okay. So capabilities in the sense, because it is a special Ratha given by Agnidev, it could travel on all the mediums. It could travel on the land, if needed. It could travel on water. It could fly on air. So it could do all those things. So this is a very special Ratha. There is a story behind this Ratha also. You want to listen, or anyone knows, they can share.
We don't know, Prabhuji. You can tell us. I don't know. But
Yeah, Prabhuji, we can listen.
So in those days, right? In those days, there used to be a king called Shvetaki. Shvetaki is very fond of performing these fire sacrifices. You know, he does continuously fire sacrifice, one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. Continuously, he wants to do that. You know, that is his wish, that is his desire. So he had these some of his people in his kingdom. They're called they do perform yagnas on behalf of him. So they're called ritviks. Ritvik means those people who perform some act on behalf of you. So you used to have these ritviks, sadhus who perform this yagna continuously. So after a while, what happened? Because he's been doing continuously, one after the other, one after the other. Because the fires, they generate a lot of smoke, right? So this smoke, these people were performing, these sadhus were performing, they were getting hurt because of the smoke. Their eyes were getting hurt, and then they were not able to breathe properly. So they had so many other side effects. Their eyes were getting spoiled. So they couldn't tolerate this, because the king was making them, compelling them to do so many yajnas. So slowly over the period, they started hiding. And whenever king had a notification, then they say, no, I'm not available. Or some sadhus, they used to run away from the city also without informing the king. But after some time, he could see nobody was ready to come to perform yajna. What? He was not able to do anything. So what could he do? But he wants to perform. That is his desire. He wanted to do. So what he did, then he did a tapasya. He did austerities and tapasya, and he will pray for Lord Shiva. So when Lord Shiva, seeing his dedication, Lord Shiva appears, and he'll ask Raja, what do you want? Why are you doing tapasya? So Raja Shvetaki will ask, okay, please give me a good Brahmin who can perform yagnas. And his last desire is, Arundhati Mataji raised hand. Do you have any question, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. Who is that king? That name I forgot. I couldn't.
Shvetaki.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So now Lord Shiva gives him benediction that, okay, I will send you a good Brahman, because this Raja's last desire is that I want to perform yagna for at least 12 years, continuously, non-stop. So Lord Shiva says, okay, no problem, I will give you benediction. Okay, your desire will be fulfilled. I'll give you Durvasa Muni. Durvasa Muni, he sends Durvasa Muni. So after 12 years of successful yagna completion, so everything will go fine, no problem, continuous yagna. So after 12 years of completion, Raja is very satisfied. But what happened? Interestingly, this Agnidev, the fire god, okay, so he has been drinking lot of ghee, right? In yagna, you pour so much ghee every day. So he's been drinking so much ghee for so many years that he gets acidity. So this is what it says. He gets acidity and he loses luster, because so much over. Anything you do over, one day you will burst out. You won't like whatever it is, right? So you'll get acidity. Now Agnidev is in trouble. So he goes and he prays to Lord Brahma to resolve his issue. So what Brahma can recommend? Brahma recommends him, go to this Khandava forest. Khandava forest, right? Khandava Prastha. So that is when they are doing all this, they're establishing this Indraprastha, the Pandavas. So Brahma recommends you go to Khandava Prastha, and then there will be a lot of trees and leaves, everything. So you go eat them, and then you will get pacified. All your acidity stomach upset will go. You go there, and then you start consuming. Okay. And also the other reason Brahma sends there is because this forest has a lot of pashus, very cruel pashus, and deadly snakes, poisonous, very poisonous snakes, this Khandava forest. So Lord Brahma sends Agnidev there. So Agnidev goes, and then he'll start eating, he'll eating everything. So over the time, when he starts eating, then his hunger will be satisfied, but at the same time, he will be interrupted by Indra, Lord Indra. Why? Because Lord Indra has a very, very good and close friend. Who is his close friend? In the snakes, Takshak. Takshak is very close friend of Indra. So Takshak goes to Indra and says that please help. So Indra comes, then he pours heavy rains and he'll stop this Agni. So Agni is, is interrupted by Indra. So then he won't be able to do anything, Agni Dev. At the same time, this is a coincidence. See, at the same time, Krishna and Arjuna, they are there in the Kandava Prastha, right? So they are arranging all that. So then Agni Dev goes to Indra and Krishna, Arjuna and Krishna, asking for help. So this is what happening. So I'm not able to digest anything. So please help me, give me solution. So Krishna points out at Arjuna, saying that, Arjuna, can you take care of this? So Arjuna, then, like how we build, right? How we build a tent when we have outside parties and all that, right? So we build a nice tent. So similarly, Arjuna builds a shadow, a shelter of arrows. So which will restrict even Indra if he's pouring heavy rains, so that won't fall under the ground. Right, so you'll put a big, nice arrow. Okay, so that way he will please Agnidev, because Agnidev will satisfy his hunger. Then he will please Agnidev. So because he pleased Agnidev, Agnidev asks, "What do you want, Arjuna? You have satisfied my hunger and rectified my stomach upset. Please let me know, what do you want?" So then Arjuna says, "What can I ask?" Krishna, on behalf of Arjuna, he tells that Agnidev, give your Ratha to Arjuna. Because Krishna knows, right? Krishna knows present, past, and future. So Krishna knows that definitely there is going to be war. So Arjuna needs all these things. So Krishna tells on behalf of Arjuna that please give this Ratha, okay, to Arjuna. So not only Ratha, in fact, along with the Ratha, Agnidev also gives him Gandiva. Gandiva means bow, right? So he gives this Gandiva. So this Gandiva is not a normal Gandiva again. It is a special Gandiva, a special bow, which was there with Brahmaji. Originally it was there with Brahmaji for 1,000 years, and then it was passed on to Indra, and Indra had it for 500 years, and then it passed on to Varunadev. So currently, before giving it to Arjuna, it was with Varunadev. It was there for about 100 years. So Agnidev requests Varunadev to give that to Arjuna. So Varunadev gives it to Arjuna. So not only with that Gandiva, he just gives Gandiva, but he gives a wonderful quiver. Quiver. Quiver is where you keep the arrows in that Gandiva, right? When in that where you keep the arrows in that quiver. When you fight, you take the arrows and so shoot it. So this quiver is also not ordinary quiver. This is a very special quiver where the arrows, it is like in Akshay Patra, right? Akshay Patra, the food won't get over anytime. How much ever you consume, the food won't get over. So similarly, this quiver is also like that. Like arrows, how many ever arrows Arjuna uses, it won't get emptied anytime. Always arrows will be there. So that is a special, very special quiver. Okay, and so he got what? He got chariot, he got Gandiva, then he got a wonderful quiver. So these are the things he'll get from Agnidev. And then there is a Gandharva called Chittartha. Chittartha, he will benedict these 4 horses. Okay, so this is how he gets all these horses, chariot, Gandiva, and a quiver, right? And there is a special mention, eventually in the next verses it will come, but horses means, chariot means there will always be a flag, right? Flag is a representation of anything that anybody sees in the war. If anybody sees from far, they can easily identify which chariot is which chariot. It is Arjuna's chariot, or Dronacharyas or Bhishma Pitamaha, they can easily identify. So every chariot will have a flag on the top, you know. So similarly, Arjuna's chariot also had a flag on the top. You know who was there on the flag?
Hanuman.
Hanuman.
Hanuman. Wonderful. So Hanuman was there, right? That is why chariot was called Kapidwaja. The flag on the chariot, Arjuna's chariot, is called Kapidwaja. So there is also a story behind this, you know, how he got a flag. So do anyone know how he got that flag?
When
Prabhuji, I think it's when Bhima was being stopped by Hanumanji on some mountain. I forget the mountain's name.
Yes.
And then Hanumanji promises that he will be helping one of the 5 brothers in the war, in the greatest war.
Right, right. Yeah, so what happens is once they are during their exile, right? So when they are in exile, Krishna recommends Pandavas and specifically Arjuna, you know, to go to other planets, heavenly planets, and you know he wants to please the demigod so that he can get nice weapons which can be used later. Because Krishna knew the future, as I said, he wanted Pandavas to be ready with all his equipments, you know, all his arms. So he asked Arjuna to go and other planets and please demigods to get those. So similarly, when Arjuna is away, so once what happens, this Draupadi, she smells a nice fragrance, flower fragrance, you know. So she gets attracted with that fragrance. So sees that little flower, you know, she sees that wonderful flower. Now that flower is called Saugandhika, a very special flower. Now this is not an again ordinary flower. It's a very special flower with 1,000 petals around it. You know, 1,000 petals are so nicely arranged. You know, the look also is so beautiful, and the fragrance is also very wonderful. So she, you know, she feels, oh, I need to have this. You know, I need to have a lot of these. When we go back to our kingdom, I can put these in my garden. So she requests Bhima. You know, so Bhima, can you please get those? So Bhima thinks, oh, from marriage, I haven't given her any gift. She has always been into problems since marriage. So let me please her by getting this flower to her. So Bhima goes. You know, Bhima goes to get that flower. You know, those days were in Badrikashram. Badrikashram is said to be like very, very tough terrains. You know, it's not easy to walk. You know, you have to walk on the stones and you have to climb up. So it's not easy. So Bhima goes that. Bhima is very strong, as you all know. So Bhima goes, and then when he's going towards on the way, he meets this monkey, you know, who is obstructing his way. So he'll request, oh monkey, can you please give me the path to go there? I am on a mission. So the monkey says, so I'm sorry, I'm so old, I can't even move myself. If you want to go pass by, you please help me move. Then Bhima says that, no, I cannot jump. Monkey says, please jump on me and then pass by. Then he says, no, I cannot jump on you. That's not the right way, but I can move you. So he'll try, he'll lift his tail, but tail is so heavy that he can't even lift. So he'll try many times, but he'll be a failure. He cannot lift his tail. So then he'll say, oh monkey, who you are? Because you're so strong. You know, nobody could defeat me. I'm very strong in power, but if somebody is defeating me, that means either you should be Krishna, or you should be one from you know, Bhima is actually Vayuputra, right? Either you should be Vayuputra or you should be Krishna, right? Both are brothers. Bhima and Hanuman is brothers, right? Because Hanuman is also Vayuputra, Bhima is also Vayuputra. So Hanuman is elder to Bhima. So then as soon as he says that Hanuman, or he shows his original form, and then he gives a little small lecture that how he gives a lecture to Bhima saying that no, you should not have this you know, pride in you. You are very proud of your power, so you should not have pride. You have to be very patient. So he gives all these good advices. Hanuman gives, and he happily hugs Bhima. So at the time when he hugs Bhima, so Hanuman also transfers, induces some of his power to Bhima. So Bhima will become more powerful, right? And also Hanuman asked, as an elder brother, he asked Bhima, so what do you want? Do you want any benediction? Bhima says that if at all there is a war in the future, then you have to be on the chariot of Arjuna, in the flag. So, and also the second thing he says that when I make sound, when I roar in the war, then you have to roar along with me, making huge sound, so that the opposite party will get very scared to scare others, because if you scare them, they will lose the power, though you can easily fight. So those are the two things he'll ask Hanuman, and Hanuman gives it and sends him back. Okay, so that is how the flag, actually, it is not just a symbol on the flag. Hanuman really resides on the flag of the chariot. Hanuman is also watching the war. Hanuman also acts when Bhima roars. Hanuman also roars, making huge sound. So Hanuman is there on the flag. Okay, so that is how the flag also comes into picture. So Hanuman also has a very special relationship with Arjuna. So we can discuss that, but it's already 8:54. So we'll continue next week. I'll stop here. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, clarifications, please go ahead. So one thing, many things we can take home here, right? So many things in the sense coming from here, that Hanuman, he gives nice advice to Bhima, that you cannot be very proud of your power, right? So that means one should not be proud of whatever position or power, whatever they have, one should not be proud, because it can be easily defeated by others anytime, any part of the time. So that one thing we can learn from this episode. And the other thing is that Pandavas, they are completely surrendered to Krishna. So that is why they let Krishna to blow the conch shell. They are completely surrendered. They love Krishna, they respect him. So that is why they want Krishna to blow the conch shell. So that is another thing. So whatever happens, whatever activities we do, so that is why in Bhagavad Gita and coming slokas we'll see, whatever you do, yat karoshi, yat ashnasi, yat juhosi, dadasi, yat tapasyasi kauntaya, tat krusha madarpanam. He says that, Krishna says, right? So whatever you do, whatever you offer, you do for me, for the pleasure of me. So you always have to keep any activity you do, keep first Krishna in front. Then the activity will be completely successful. So that thing we can learn. So my personal experience, I can share that this is very practical, and anybody can implement this, and it works like a charm, right? So I'm a software guy. I work for a company where I write programs, right? So it always happens to me. So many times I end up writing very complicated programs. That time I spend a lot of time, I waste a lot of time in writing those programs. So finally, I think that, oh, it is my intelligence. I think a lot. It's my logic. I put more logic, all that. But even then, I was not successful many times, that the program won't execute properly. So finally, I give up and then say, oh, Haribol policy. That means Haribol, you have to take care. Krishna, I'm wasting so much time. So instead of wasting this time, I can utilize this time for something else. Please help me here. So if you just, now I used to tell this. And amazingly, you won't even believe, amazingly, that somehow after some time, very soon, the program works very fine. Wonderfully the program works. This happened to me many times. So Krishna helps some way or the other. Okay, even in any activity you do, if you put Krishna in front, definitely that activity will be successful. Like exactly what Pandavas are doing, right? They're putting Krishna in the front to blow the conch shell. So that is one thing. Another thing you can take, okay, and the significance of white is actually the peaceful. So you have seen many functions also. Some people wear very white, especially these politicians. If you see Indian politicians, I don't know how internally they are, but externally if you see, they always wear this white dress, right? White dress indicating it is peaceful, right? Mode of goodness, actually. Okay, so that is another thing we can take from here. And also we learned that where Madhava, the husband of goddess of fortune is there, there is always a victory. Jayastu Pandava Putranam Esham Pakshe Janardana. So Esham Pakshe, wherever Janardana is there, that party wins. Esham Pakshe Janardana, right? So that is another thing we learn from this. So that's all I can share. If anybody else wants to share, there are some hands raised. Parima Mataji, Vatsala Mataji. Parima Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept my humble respects. Prabhu, I just wanted to, you just said that Arjuna got the Gandiv bow,
Yes.
the Ratha, number 2, and what else he got from Agni? I just wanted to kind of recollect that.
Okay. First he got Ratha. Okay. So then he got Gandiva, the bow.
Okay.
Okay. So then he got this quiver. You keep the arrows.
Quiver. Okay.
The quiver. And that quiver is also very special, unlimited arrows.
And some Gandharva you spoke about?
Yeah, Gandharva. Gandharva Chitrartha. Chitrartha, he is a Gandharva who benedicts Arjuna with 4 horses, those white horses.
Okay, but Chitrartha also is a very good dancer, I had heard. And he was the one who basically taught him how to dance. So when Arjuna became Brihannala for 1 year.
Correct.
So that was that. Okay, so that was Chitrartha. Okay. Because I got confused. That's why I asked. Okay, that I didn't know this, that he gave the horses. I just knew that he gave the dancing training. Okay, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Yes, Mataji. So Arundhati Mataji. Sorry, Vatsala Mataji.
Prabhu, it is really nice how you are explaining things about the different names of Krishna. First, you started with the Madhava. It's a very nice Sanskrit explanation. I always appreciate Sanskrit and explanation or detail of that. And I never heard this explanation before, and it is revealing, very fascinating to know that fact. Thank you very much. You are doing a very nice job. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Anybody wants to share? Arundhati Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. Can you please tell once again what Bhima got from Lord Hanuman? The 2 things.
So what Bhima got? Or?
From Hanuman.
Yeah, Bhima asks, 2 things from Hanuman. First thing, he wants Hanuman to be on the flag, okay, on the chariot of Arjuna, right? So that is one thing. And second thing, he says that whenever he roars in the battlefield to make to scare others, the opposite party, so he would like Hanuman also to roar along with him, so that makes huge sound which scares the opposite party. So if they are scared, they cannot fight to their best, so that they can be easily defeated. So those 2 things.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So Prajna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I never knew the total significance about the chariot, so it's really interesting to know, and how it symbolizes the victory, like Krishna arranged. Like we just read as a story, like how Kanda forest and getting Gandiva in that exile, or when they were in the forest, like how Krishna told them in the beginning, you go now and be prepared for the war, but how he arranged them to get each thing, but never knew about the chariot. I just knew that Agni gave, but then all this was, that was very interesting, and like it's again assuring that If Krishna is on your side, you're protected. What you need in that right time, he knows and he'll give.
Yes.
Take the shelter of Krishna.
Yatha Krishnaha Tata Jayaha.
Yes. And then you mentioned, just like how you mentioned in the last class, the last verse of the Bhagavad Gita, victory, where there is Krishna.
Yatra, what is that verse?
Yatra parthe.
Yatra Yogeshwara
Yatra
Krishna,
Yogeshwara. Yes, go ahead.
Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara, Tatra Sri Vijayo, Tatra Sri Vijaya Bhutur Dharuvan Nitirmatir Mama.
Wonderful. So that is a sloka. So wherever Krishna is there, there will be victory. Definitely.
And then you also told us one more take home for the 113 shloka at the beginning about how Duryodhana, because he was proud as a king and he was not motivating. So,
You're breaking up.
Hare Krishna Raji?
You're breaking up. Now, please, go ahead.
Yeah. So you said one more thing about the takeaway home for the beginning of the shloka when you told us the 1.13, wherein Duryodhan, he's feeling proud as a king and he's thinking he's motivating, but he's not truly motivating. So it was not enthusiastic for rest of them, but a true enthusiasm, like how you explained for the spirituality, that comes only when you hear about you need to be enthusiastic to know about Krishna, to do the service for Krishna. That's the true enthusiasm which gives. And here, the way how Duryodhana is telling, that's not giving the thorough enthusiasm to all the heroes and the warriors in the war.
Yes.
I think that's all, Prabhuji. And it's good to know the Krishna's names and Arjuna's names like that. You can remember. So every time when you tell us these things, like you are emphasizing. Otherwise, we could have just heard and we wouldn't even know the importance that, oh yeah, there will be 33 names. So we will know in what context, why that name was used. So now we'll start making note of it. So that way, it's helping us to remember, not just listen and...
yeah, that is very interesting because, as I said in the very first class, the names are very significant. It is not like our ordinary names. We have some name and we exhibit different character, right? No, we'll call the girl name as Shanti. The girl is very arrogant, very intolerant. Her name would be very Shanti. That's very completely contrary, the name. So it is not like that. When it comes to Krishna's names, it clearly indicates a high significance of his activity or form or anything related to Krishna, right? So that is why it is very important. Yes, Prajna Mataji.
She was interested about the two stories you told us, Prabhuji, Khandav Forest, and then she's trying to add more to it. Oh, is that how she was connecting the dots? And she was just telling me, interacting. So.
So we'll next week we'll also hear the relationship between Pandava and Hanuman. Why Hanuman is actually on the Pandava's Arjuna's chariot. So the relation between Arjuna and Hanuman also quickly next week. Okay.
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Who is this? Prajna Mataji.
Yeah, so while you were also saying the class, I looked up some of the questions I had. So I looked up Draupadi, what she was in her past life, and like the things they're saying is like she had a curse by her husband, and that who was a sage. Like she was doing something like bad, I think. Something bad. So is that true?
What kind of curse, Mataji?
Like I looked up what Draupadi was in her past life, and it's showing that she did like,
where is it?
It's over here.
Bad karma?
Yeah. Here. Stories are told. And it's saying that...
Yeah, she did some bad karma and then her husband cursed her.
Curse
So
her
she's
to become
asking
what?
that you will get 5 husbands.
No, that is not why she gets 5 husbands. No.
Yeah, that's why she's asking. She never heard that, but she's seeing in Google. Is it correct? So that's her question, probably.
Draupadi, she prays to Lord Shiva, give me husband, give me husband, give me husband, give me husband, please give me husband 5 times.
And for like, they should have all the 5 like qualities.
Yeah, so that's how she gets all 5 husbands in this life.
Because if I go to a different website, it'll say something different.
So don't go to the website.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
So
you.
let's read this Mahabharata on vedabase.io, right? So in that it is clearly mentioned. So I'm not sure if Draupadi's past life is mentioned there or not. I haven't read this book anytime. But
No,
what
but
I heard is
past
Draupadi.
is not mentioned there.
Okay. So what I heard is Draupadi will get benediction, because she asked for five times, give me husband, give me husband. So that is how she gets 5 husbands in this life. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
What I heard, like she asked, my husband should be very handsome. That was first one, and my husband should be very strong. My qualities of the different 5 different qualities she asked. So then Lord Shiva told, like these all the qualities cannot be possible in one person. So that's why she got 5 person as a husband in this her present life. That's what I heard. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Maybe this is same
Yes,
thing.
I also saw
Sorry?
the same thing in R.K. Chopra Mahabharata. It is explained there.
Who's is a serial? Mahabharata.
Yes, R.K. Chopra's Mahabharata.
There are a lot of
Mahabharata.
There are a lot of tweaks in that, so you have to be careful. So one of the tweaks, for example, I would say, some of the tweaks are for TRPs. Okay.
Also, B.R. Chopra, Prabhu.
Yeah, that is what I'm saying. This B.R. Chopra, it is good, but there are a lot of tweaks and turns because of getting some TRPs. So one simple example I'll tell you, this B.R. Chopra's Mahabharata, right? So when Krishna, when Bhishma Pitamaha, right, he provokes Krishna to lift a weapon, right? According to B.R. Chopra, Krishna gets the Sudarshan Chakra, right? But that's not true. So Krishna.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You're right, Prabhu. Even I also felt that.
Yes, Krishna takes the wheel of the chariot. So he doesn't get Sudarshan Chakra. According to B.R. Chopra, it's Sudarshan Chakra, which is not correct. So there are a lot of tweaks and turns. You have to be very careful. You don't have to go by that. That is why the authentic book you can read as of now. The authentic book you can read is on vedabase.io. Read that Mahabharata. Okay. So these movies and all is only for TRPs or to get some popularity. So it may not be 100%.
This I saw many years back when I was young.
Yeah, I know. That's what I recommend you not to go by these movies or some websites until it is authenticated. So,
okay. Thank you.
Anything else?
Yeah, nice project. It's a very wonderful class. So
Prabhu.
So much of things we got.
Yes, Mataji.
So you go to vedabase.com and then you look for the Mahabharata. Who wrote that actually?
So that is written by, let me tell you right away. Is Kirtida there? She reads every day this book.
You
there?
can send it to me.
Prabhuji, it's written by, it said
Krishna Dharmadas.
Krishna Dharmadas.
Yes.
So he's a Vaishnava.
Yeah, of course. He's a
disciplic succession.
Okay, so I have put it in chat window, so you can refer that. So this is an authentic book. Everybody refers to this book.
Okay.
And I heard that in Vedabase there's also one separate section about only for each character of Mahabharata.
That I don't know, Mataji.
In some lectures only I heard, Prabhuji, like you'll get about all the characters in the there's only characters, it says, but even I never tried. But when kids ask, sometimes I wouldn't know.
See, that is important to know. As I said before, all the characters characters, we have to get deeper into it actually to say. But when we come to Mahabharata or any other session, we can discuss that. But it is very important to know their characteristics, their behavior, so many points to take out from that, and then we try to implement. Right?
Actually, Prabhuji, in this Corona, at least for me in my home, I did for the kids that just like how they read lot of books, I said just read Veda base, and now they are up to almost 3/4 of the Mahabharata.
Oh, wonderful!
And between they watch just to get that visualization, but they know that certain places it's not correct, like they show completely wrong. So first I tell them, whatever episode you want to watch, first make sure you read from Veda base and then you watch, so you know which one not to take it from there, just for their memory.
One very, very good thing, whether people in India or anywhere who have read book or not, one good thing from B.R. Chopra is that we know these two slokas, right? Yada yada hi dharmasya these two slokas, everybody knows.
Every
right?
Sunday.
Yeah. Every Sunday, 9 o'clock it will come.
We used to sit and watch.
Yeah. The whole street is empty at the time. No? Yeah, but these slokas people know. So at least they know. That is a good point from the. So anything else? Prajna Mata, you have something?
Was Draupadi, is Draupadi like any form of Lakshmi?
Draupadi is not Lakshmi.
Like, does she have
some powers like them?
No, does she have any connection with Lakshmi?
Does she have any connection?
We all have connection with Lakshmi. We all have connection with Lord Krishna. We are a part and parcel. Lakshmi has connection with Krishna. So
in some lecture, where I heard, in fact, Prabhupada mentions as goddess of fortune. I don't know where I heard. Very recently.
So I think there are 9 or 7. I'm sorry if I might get wrong here, but there are 9 or 7 ladies in Mahabharata. Okay, who are very, very, very significant, and one among them is Draupadi, like Draupadi, Kunti, Gandhari. So there are many other women who are very, very significant. They are highly elevated in qualities, and then in purity, the chastity, all that. So that will be
Pancha-Mahakanyas. The Pancha-Mahakanyas, I think Draupadi was one of the Kunti or Draupadi was one of them.
It's not 5, it is more actually.
Prabhuji, in Veda base only it's given. I'm just seeing in the appendix it's given about each character, and for Draupadi it's written she was said to be an expansion of the goddess Lakshmi.
Also known as
And it's in the, when we click the Mahabharata, we get parts, right? Part 1, part 2, and then in that appendix, it's given about each character. And in that, about Draupadi, it's given. I think maybe this is what somebody was referring, and now she looked up and it came up.
Interesting, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, so if we are done.
Prabhu, one small clarification, Prabhu.
Yes.
As per my Guru Maharaj lecture, Draupadi is expansion of Mother Parvati.
Mother Parvati, okay.
A small thing I want to share. Thank you, Prabhu.
So where is this? She's expansion of Lakshmi. Where is this written, Mataji?
Prabhuji, I'll copy. I'm pasting the link. It's in Veda base. When you click the Mahabharata at the bottom, and you go to more books.
In vedabase.net?
Yes, Prabhuji. I'm just sending the link now.
Chat window?
Yes, Prabhuji. I'll just.
Okay.
Which appendix you're talking about?
This is appendix 5.
Yes. Okay. So she sent the link in the chat window.
Oh.
Yes, that is very nice to know, Mataji. Draupadi, daughter of Drupada, king of Panchala, and wife of the 5 Pandavas. In her previous life, she was an ascetic woman named Nalayani, who received a boon from Shiva that she would have 5 husbands in her next life. The epitome of womanly skills, she once gave advice on how to serve a husband to Satyabhama, one of Krishna's principal wives. She was said to be an expansion of the goddess Lakshmi, also known as Panchali. Yes. Thank you. Anything else?
In fact, the entire family is getting involved with the satsang now. Like not kids being away because they know Mahabharata and it helped, and then they also feel. So I should say thanks, Prabhuji, that you picked the
Thank you.
Bhagavad Gita topic.
Yeah, no problem, Mataji. It is helpful for everyone. You know, the reader, the listener, you know, the participants. You know, that's the whole essence. As I said, next week we'll discuss. You know, when it comes to reflections, we will discuss how we implemented. So that will make more interesting. Make us more interesting. Okay. So each person can definitely they will experience. So each person can share one incident in this 1 week. This happened, and I try to implement this. Okay.
Sure, that's a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, and I'll take a break here. Offer obeisances to all the Vaishnava devotees who are just like the desirous, who can fulfill all desires and are full of compassion to the fallen conditioned souls. Pancha kalpa tarubhyasya हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय, श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय, प्रभुपाद की जय. हरि हरि बोल.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
And one more thing before I end this call, tomorrow we have a session at 7:30 from by His Grace Adigadadhar Prabhu. So on the same session, same Zoom ID, and also on Sunday we have Amrendra Prabhu from 4:30 to 6. Temple ID.
Temple.
Okay, so please don't forget. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.